Darkness, cold silence. Then, a dim blue light. Alara opened her eyes slowly. Her head hurt. Her arms and legs were heavy. She tried to move but couldn't. Around her was clear glass, a cage. She was floating in a small room made of metal. And strange symbols. She wasn't on Earth anymore. She blinked, confused. Where am I? Suddenly, a shadow moved. Outside the glass cage, tall alien creatures walked past. Their skin was gray and rough, their eyes bright yellow. They looked at her like she was an animal. One of them pressed a button and the cage lit up. Alara screamed and covered her face. Then, she heard it, a deep, strong voice. "Stop," the voice commanded. "Do not harm her." A giant figure stepped forward. Taller than the others, stronger. He wore armor, and his eyes glowed red. This was Jorax, the warlord of the ship. He stood in front of Alara's cage and watched her closely. "So, this is the human," he said. Alara looked at him with fear and anger. "Let me out. I'm not your pet." Jorax tilted his head. "You are not here to speak. You are here to obey." Alara clenched her fists. "I'm not your slave either." The other aliens laughed. They had never seen a human before. To them, she was just a new toy. But to Jorax, she was something different. He had seen strength in her eyes. He turned to the others. "Leave us." The room emptied. Only Jorax and Alara remained. Jorax walked around the cage slowly. Humans are weak. But they are rare, intelligent, emotional. That makes them interesting. Alara stayed silent. Her heart was racing. She had to stay strong. Jorax stopped in front of the control panel. "You will be trained," he said. "You will learn to live here. If you behave, you will live well. If you fight, I'll fight," she said sharply. "Every second, every breath, I will never belong to you." Jorax looked amused. "We will see." He pressed a button. The cage opened with a hiss. Alara stepped out slowly. Her legs shook, but she stood tall. He pointed to the floor. "Sit." She didn't move. I said, "Sit." "I'm not a dog," she said, her voice calm but full of fire. Jorax stared at her. For a moment, it looked like he would attack. But instead, he turned and walked away. "Follow me," he said. Alara followed him through long metal halls filled with glowing lights and doors that opened without touch. The ship was huge, cold, quiet. She saw other cages. Some were empty, some not. They entered a small room with cushions and a low table. Jorax sat down and looked at her. "Eat," he said, pointing to a tray of food. Strange fruits and warm. Soup.elia didn't move. "Poison?" "No," he said. "Nutrition." She sat slowly and took a small bite. It tasted sweet, like a mix of honey and lemon. "Why did you take me?" she asked. Jorax looked at her. "Because you were alone. Because no one would miss you." Alara's eyes burned. "That's not true." He tilted his head. "Your planet is full of war and sadness. But humans still fight, still hope. That is why I wanted you." "I'm not your experiment," she said. Jorax leaned closer. "Not experiment, something else." "What?" she asked. He smiled slightly. "I don't know yet." Suddenly, the ship shook. Alarms rang. Jorax stood up. "Stay here." He left quickly. Alara looked around. She wasn't locked in. She moved to the corner of the room and found a small screen on the wall. It was off, but she touched it, and it turned on. Alien symbols flashed, but she noticed a button marked in English, "Logs." She clicked it. Video played. A human man appeared on screen, tired, eyes full of fear. "If you're seeing this," the man said, "you're the next one. I tried to escape. I failed. But maybe you can do better." The screen blinked and turned off. Alara froze. She wasn't the first human here, and she might not be the last. She stood up, heart pounding. "No," she whispered. "I'm not going to die in this cage." She turned toward the door. I'm going to get out of here. Behind her, the door hissed open again. Jorak stood there. You touched the system, he said, voice calm but cold. Alara didn't back away. What are you going to do? She asked. He stepped closer. I'm going to teach you. But in my way. Alara didn't blink. And I'll fight you in mine. Asterisk. The lights in the hallway dimmed as Jorak stood silently in front of Alara. You touched the system, he repeated. Alara didn't flinch. Her eyes burned with quiet rage. Yes, and I'll do it again. For a few seconds, no one moved. The air between them felt heavy. Then, instead of punishing her, Jorak did something strange. He turned away. Follow me, he said. What? Alara asked, confused. No cage tonight. You want freedom? Then earn it. She didn't trust him, but she followed. The hallway was long and quiet. Strange alien writing glowed on the walls. Other doors remained closed. She heard distant machine sounds, and something else, whispers. Screams. He led her to a new room. It looked like a training chamber. But not for fighting, for thinking. Screens surrounded the walls. Symbols flashed quickly, faster than she could read. One wall showed stars and galaxies. Another showed Earth. Her breath caught. Home. She stepped closer. Jorak spoke behind her. Beautiful, isn't it? She turned to him slowly. Why are you showing me this? Because I want to understand your kind, he said. And maybe you want to understand mine. I want to escape, she said. I know, he replied. But until then, you will learn. Alara narrowed her eyes. Learn what? Jorak smiled, not cruel, curious. How to think like us. He waved his hand. One of the screens changed. It showed a puzzle. Lines, patterns, numbers. Alien logic. You solve. You eat. You rest. You learn. That is the rule, he said. You break the rule. I get punished? She snapped. No, Jorak said calmly. You lose your chance. She stared at him. Chance for what? For freedom. Alara looked back at the screen. Her mind worked fast. The puzzle wasn't just a test, it was a trap. But inside traps sometimes were doors. She sat down and began to solve. 12 hours passed. No food. No sleep, just silence and puzzles. Jorak watched from above, behind a glass wall. He didn't speak. Just watched. Alara finished puzzle after puzzle. Some she failed. Others she solved fast. One made her cry. It showed an image of Earth breaking apart. Jorak walked in as she threw a chair across the room. You're trying to break me, she said. Why? Because broken things, he said, rebuild stronger. Alara laughed bitterly. I'm not something you can fix. I'm human. We don't rebuild with wires and steel. Jorak stepped closer. Then show me how. Later, in the restroom. Elar, he sat on a soft surface, knees pulled up, staring at the wall. She hated this place. But something was changing. Not her. Not yet. Him. Jorak entered with food. Not strange alien fruit. This time, it was bread. Warm, soft, almost like home. Why this? She asked. You miss it, he said. So I had the system scan your memory. It created a copy. She didn't take the food. You scan my thoughts now? He nodded. You dream of forests, lakes, music. Ilara's hands tightened. I dream of freedom, she said. Jorak sat across from her. I know, he replied. There was a long silence. Then softly she said, why do you even care? Jorak looked into her eyes. Because you are the first one who didn't break. Alara blinked. There were others. He nodded. Humans taken from dark places, war zones, desperate cities. All of them fell. You did not. I'm not strong, she whispered. Yes, you are, he said. You're human. That night. She didn't return to the cage. She slept. on a soft surface, under a warm light. But her dreams were filled with fire and chains. And behind it all, Jorax's voice. The next morning, he was waiting. He handed her a small device. "What's this?" she asked. "A translator, if you wear it. You can speak with my people." She hesitated. "Why are you doing this?" Jorax looked at her, almost sad. "Because soon, they will ask me to give you up, and I need you to speak for yourself." Alara stared at him. This wasn't just about power. Something bigger was coming. And for the first time, she wasn't just a pet. She was a problem for them, and maybe their only hope. Time passed, but not the same way as on Earth. The stars outside the ship never moved. Alara didn't know if it was day or night anymore, but something inside her had changed. She no longer felt like a prisoner. She felt like a spy, Jorax thought. He was training her, feeding her, teaching her. But Alara was learning more than puzzles. She was learning his ship and his secrets, and today, she found a door. It started with a sound, a low humming noise behind the training chamber wall. Every time the lights blinked, the sound returned. She followed it, quietly, when no one was watching. Jorax had given her limited access to the ship. But not this hallway. She passed dark panels, wires glowing blue, floors that felt warm under her feet. Then she saw it, a door with no handle. No buttons. No lights. Just a smooth surface with a faint handprint. Not alien. Human-sized. She placed her hand against it. Nothing happened. She waited. Then turned to leave, but the door opened. Inside was a small, dark room. No windows. Just old screens, broken chairs, and a bed. A human bed. Her heart stopped. Someone had lived here. She stepped inside slowly. Dust floated in the air. On one wall, a name was scratched in tiny letters. J. Reeve, Earth, 2136. "Still human," Alara whispered. "I'm not the first." There were papers, too, written in shaky English. Diagrams of the ship's core. Notes. Warnings. One sentence was repeated over and over. "Don't trust the voice. He changes." The voice? Jorax? She found a small tablet near the bed. It still worked. She pressed play. A human man's voice came on, tired, angry, and scared. "If you found this, I'm probably gone," the voice said. "Jorax took me in like you. Said I was different. Said I had a strong mind. He gave me food. Talked like a friend." The voice paused. Then, "But he's not your friend. He studies humans. Tests them. He wants to learn how to control us without breaking us. And when he's done, he resets us. Wipes the memory. Starts again." Alara's hands shook. "He tried it on me. I fought, but it's too late. I can feel my thoughts slipping. If you're smarter, run, or end it. Don't let him change." The recording ended. Alara sat down slowly. Everything felt cold. Was it true? Was Jorax lying all along? Was her mind next? Suddenly, the door behind her hissed open. Jorax stood there. Silent. She didn't speak. Just stared at him. He looked at the room. The bed, the screen, the message scratched on the wall. And then, he closed the door behind him. "You were not supposed to see this," he said. "You lied to me," Alara said softly. "You said I was the first." Jorax stepped forward. "No, I said you were the first who didn't break." "You studied us," she said. "Used us." He nodded slowly. "Yes, I did. I had to." "Why?" she asked, her voice cracking. "Why pretend to care?" Jorax looked away, then back at her. For the first time, he seemed unsure. "I wanted to understand," he said. "Not just your mind, but your soul." Alara stared at him, eyes full of pain. "You can't understand something while breaking it apart," she whispered. For a long moment, they said nothing. Then Jorax did something strange. He sat down beside her on the floor. "I've watched," Humans burn planets and still love. I've seen them lose everything and still hope. That is power we cannot copy. Alara spoke slowly. So you tried to steal it. He didn't argue. You want to know what makes us human? She asked. He nodded. We bleed, she said, but we still stand. We lose, but we still dream. Jorax looked at the scratched words on the wall. Still human, he whispered. Then teach me. Alara stood up. No, she said. I'm done teaching. She walked past him, toward the open door, but before she stepped out, she turned back. I'm going to stop you. Not with fists, with truth. Jorax didn't stop her. He watched her walk away. And for the first time since he took command of this ship, he felt something strange. Fear. Two minds. One truth. Alara walked the halls of the alien ship like a ghost. Her steps were quiet, her face calm. But inside her a storm was growing. She had seen the truth. Jorax had lied, manipulated, tested humans like puzzles, and now he wanted to understand her soul. No doubt she was done being the experiment. She was going to become the problem. Back in her quarters, she stared at the tablet left by the other human, J. Reeve. His last words echoed in her mind. Don't let him change you. She wouldn't. Instead, she would change everything else. That night, Jorax did not come to speak to her. No puzzles, no commands, no voice. Just silence, which was worse. Because silence meant one thing. He was thinking. Planning. The next day, the ship's atmosphere changed. Lights flickered red. Loudspeakers buzzed with alien codes. Alara stepped into the hallway. An alien guard passed her, fast, nervous. Something was wrong, and then she heard it. Council ship approaching. Level 1 protocol active. Her heart stopped. The Council, Jorax, had told her about them. Cold, cruel leaders of this alien empire. The ones who believed humans were weak. Useless, dangerous. If they saw her alive, unchained, Jorax would be punished. Or worse. And she'd be erased. Not killed. Erased. Suddenly, her door opened. Jorax entered, fast and tense. No time, he said. You must hide. She didn't move. Now, he growled. They cannot see you. Alara stared at him. Why protect me? She asked. Your game's over. Jorax looked at her. No armor now, just a cloak. No, he said quietly. The game begins now. He led her deep into the ship. Below the training rooms. Past the cage area. Down a spiral hall with no lights. A heavy metal door opened. Inside, a small hidden chamber. Shielded. Safe. No screens. No watchers. Elara stepped in. But before he could leave, she grabbed his wrist. Tell me the truth, she said. Why me? Jorax's red eyes dimmed for a moment. Because when I first saw you, he whispered, I saw what we lost. Alara frowned. What do you mean? He turned away. My kind once had emotion, connection, long ago. But we erased it to win wars. We became machines with skin. And now we feel nothing. But you, humans, feel everything. A loud alarm rang overhead. The council ship had arrived. Jorax gave her a small crystal. If anything happens to me, use this. It controls the escape pod. Go back to Earth. Alara stared at him. Why are you trusting me? He paused. Because I finally see. I was never your master. He closed the door behind her. And Alara was alone. Above, in the council chamber. Jorax stood before 3 tall alien leaders. Their faces were hidden behind metal masks, their voices cold. We sense human energy on this ship. Jorax did not blink. No human remains. Then why is your mind conflicted? Silence. You are infected. Jorax's fists tightened. No, I am awakened. Then you are no longer one of us. Alara heard the explosion through the floor, a muffled roar. The war had begun, not outside, but inside. Inside Jorax. Inside her. The war of identity, of power, of humanity. She pressed her head to the wall, tears in her eyes. She had hated him. She had feared him, but now part of her felt something else. Pity. Respect? Forgiveness? She didn't know yet, but she knew this. She couldn't hide anymore. She opened the chamber door and walked back into the fire. The ship was bleeding. Not with blood, but light. Sparks flew from torn panels. Sirens screamed through the halls like dying voices. The war inside the ship had begun. And Alara? She was no longer hiding. She was moving. She ran through the half-lit corridors, past shattered walls, past confused alien guards. Some shouted, but none followed. Their orders were to find the threat. They didn't realize she was the threat. Jorax had not returned. No voice in her head. No commands. Only the memory of what he said. If anything happens to me, use the crystal. The small crystal pulsed in her pocket, glowing softly. Her fingers curled around it, but she didn't run to the escape pod. Not yet. First, she needed answers. She reached the central control room. Guards lay on the floor, stunned, not dead. Jorax's work. At the center of the room was a round table, covered in holograms, maps, and live feeds from every part of the ship. She placed her hand on the control pad. The system responded. Now used to her human touch, a secret map opened, hidden. Chambers. One labeled, Core Intelligence, Alpha Vault. Another labeled, Species Archive Human Subjects. Her heart dropped. More humans. Or the remains of them. She had a choice now, escape or unlock the truth. She chose truth. She followed the map through damaged corridors until she reached a thick silver door. No handle, no buttons, but this time, she didn't need to wait. The door opened for her. Inside was something ancient. A white room. Silent, cold, filled with light. And in the center, a glowing orb, floating in the air. Wires connected it to the walls like veins. This was not a machine. This was a brain. The ship's mind. It turned red as she entered. A voice echoed. Unauthorized lifeform detected. Species, human. Memory imprint, Alara. Her body tensed. Observation. Subject shows unusual emotional resilience. Fear override, 62%. Cognitive resistance, 89%. She whispered, "You were watching me. We study all. You are not unique. You are part of an experiment." "No," she said, "not anymore." She reached into her pocket. And pulled out the crystal. Danger. That key holds virus code. Do not insert. She slammed it into the console. The orb screamed. Lights flickered. Panels cracked. System corruption. Critical. The whole ship shook. Doors opened across all decks. Alarms shifted from red to white. Evacuation mode. She ran back toward the escape bay. Smoke filled the halls. Fires burned along the floor. Alien guards shouted in confusion, some calling for orders, some simply running. The ship had turned against itself, and in the middle of the chaos, Jorax stood, wounded, shoulder bleeding, eyes still burning red. They locked eyes across the corridor. "You did it," he said. She nodded. "I did." He limped forward. "They'll come after you now. They'll come after Earth." Ilura's voice was steady. "Then we fight. Together." Jorax looked at her for a long time. Then he nodded. They entered the escape bay. Only one pod remained. Ilara looked at him. "You coming with me?" Jorax touched the wound on his side. "No," he said. "This is your story now, your war." She stepped into the pod. The door began to close. Then she stopped it, reached out, touched his hand. Not as a prisoner, not as a pet. As an equal. "Thank you," she whispered. He gave a small smile. "No," he said. "Thank you for reminding me what it means to feel." The pod launched, a trail of fire behind it. Alara watched through the window as the ship, the prison, the lab, the battlefield grew smaller behind her. She didn't know what waited back on Earth, but she knew one thing for sure. She wasn't a test subject anymore. She was the weapon. Asterisk. Silence. That was the first thing Alara felt in the escape pod. No alarms, no voices, no war, just the hum of the engine. And her heartbeat. Earth was still weeks away, but her mind was already racing forward, because she wasn't going back the same girl. She had escaped the alien ship, but left something behind, and it wasn't just ZHORX. In the corner of the pod sat a black cube. Jorax had placed it there just before launch. No explanation. No words. Only a look. A warning. She waited 3 days before opening it. Inside, a tiny device, half alien, half human design. And a message: they will come. You must become what they fear most. Become unpredictable. Become the weapon. Below the message was a data key marked Council Protocol, MindNet Core. Alara didn't understand the tech. Not yet, but she understood the feeling it gave her, that it wasn't just power, that it was danger. Jorax hadn't sent her home to hide. He'd sent her back to fight. 2 weeks later, Earth, but not her home. She landed in a hidden zone, a research outpost long abandoned. Black walls, quiet forests, satellite dishes covered in vines. It was safe. For now. She brought the cube. Inside. She connected the key. And the truth poured out. A hologram filled the room. Alien symbols flashed. Then English. Then faces, Earth's leaders, military, corporations. Connection confirmed. Earth Council compromised by MindNet. Her breath caught. Council seeded technology years ago. Hidden code, controlled growth. Slow takeover. They had been planning this for decades. Earth hadn't been saved. It had been softened. Prepared. She stood frozen in front of the projection. So Jorax wasn't just studying humans. He was protecting them from their own future. And now, it was up to her. To stop the Council. She had to break their system, but not with weapons, with something stronger. Her mind. She worked for days. Rested little. Ate less, studied both human and alien tech. Reprogrammed her escape pod system into a signal jammer. Created a virus, part memory, part logic. A weapon of emotion. One that would infect machines not through code, but through pain, through memory. Through human feeling. She named it Soulfire. On the 7th day, the skies above changed. Alien ships. 4. Council symbols, glowing red on their hulls. They had arrived. Earth didn't even see them coming. Alara activated the signal. The virus moved like a whisper through space, riding old satellites and junk tech, piggybacking into their systems. Inside the lead ship, the Council. I detected something. Not code. Not metal. Something strange. Unstable memory signal detected. Images appeared on their interface. A girl crying in a glass cage. A human man scratching his name on a wall. A red-eyed warlord sitting alone in silence. A hand reaching out. Not to hurt, but to connect. Emotion level, unsafe. System integrity, failing. They had never seen anything like it, because it wasn't an attack. It was a reminder of everything they erased. The ships began to break. Not explode. Break inward, one by one. They shut down. Alara stood outside her bunker, watching the sky burn, without fire, without sound. Just falling metal. Like snow. She didn't cheer, didn't cry. She just whispered, "That was for J. Reeve." And all the others. She turned and walked back inside. But deep down, she knew this wasn't the end. It was only the pause, because something worse was coming, and this time, they wouldn't just fight her body, they would fight her soul. 1 week after the sky went silent, the alien ships Never returned. Earth never knew how close it came to ending. People called the blackout a solar glitch, a harmless tech bug. Only one person knew the truth. Elara. She stayed hidden in the forest outpost, alone. No screens, no signals, just her, the trees, the sky. But something inside her was still awake. The virus she created, Soulfire, was still spreading. It had touched more than machines. It had touched her. Sometimes, at night, she heard voices, not real ones, memories, Jorax's last words. This is your story now. J. Reeves' final warning. Don't let them change you. And her own thoughts. What if I already did? Then, on the 10th night, a familiar sound returned. Not human. Alien. A small pod landed near her shelter. No alarms, no ships. Just a soft hum. She walked out cautiously. The pod opened. Inside, something unexpected. Not Jorax, not the council, but a child. Half-human, half-alien. Eyes like hers, but skin like his. The child held a device. A hologram blinked on. Alara, this is my last message. Jorax's voice, weaker, softer. They found me. I didn't run. I gave them something else to chase. But I left behind him, our child, not born from science. Born from hope. Ilara's breath caught. He is not a weapon. He is a bridge. He is everything they fear, and everything we forgot. He needs you. The message faded. Ilara dropped to her knees. Her hands trembled. The child stepped out and gently touched her shoulder. Warm. Real. Alive. She had a choice now. Run again, or raise a new kind of future. Not in war. Not in revenge, but in balance. That night, she looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the council still watched. Somewhere, others would come. But when they did, they wouldn't find a weapon. They'd find something far more powerful. A mother, a fighter, a human. Alara chose not to escape. She chose to stay. To fight in her own way. To teach the child how to survive and how to love. Because in the end, the real war wasn't in the sky. It was in the heart. And she had already won it.